Welcome, everyone. Get ready to open your mind and dive into the intriguing world of cosmic whispers. Today, we have Gary Spade, member of MUFON and CE5 member, and Christy Cowens, CE5 leader and UFO researcher, and myself. Today, we have Frank Alexander. Frank Alexander, with a business degree from the University of Lausanne, Switzerland, has lived most of his life in Germany and various Latin American countries in traditional business related activities, following his internal urges and gradual revelations of his true spiritual nature as a living fractal of a cosmic creator being from the 33rd dimension. He has been offering his unique service as an interdimensional portal for those interested in their quantic healing and ascension process for the last 15 years, mainly in Mexico and Latin America. Please welcome Frank Alexander. Frank, how are you
Hello,
today?
Dwayne. Hello, very well. Thank you for being able to share this with your audience. Hello, Chris. Hello, Gary. It's a pleasure to share this message and this kind of this work I do. It's I don't know, in the English-speaking countries we haven't disseminated it yet. It's mainly in Mexico and Latin America, but I'm happy to start sharing it in the States too and English-speaking countries.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to share something you sent to me. I was very intrigued. Let me just share my screen here. And it's going to be just a small portion, but then you can elaborate a little bit more on this. This is Frank Alexander. So it says, what would you think if there were a way to connect with the indescribable dimensions of light, from which emanates the existence of all subtle and physical realities and dimensions? If you could open yourself and anchor into these highest dimensions of light, commune with your higher self and your multiple fractals in other dimensions, times, and spaces. If you could connect with interdimensional hierarchies and beings inhabiting the high cosmic dimensions of light, as well as receive their assistance and cooperation. If you could incorporate the primordial creative force of the source into your processes of manifestation and co-creation for your daily life, for your personal goals, plans, and purposes. Oh my gosh, this is very powerful. So please share with us, what is this portal of ascension?
Okay. It's actually I haven't it's it actually began about 15 to 20 years ago when I felt that when I meditated, I started shaking, and then um, yeah, it was as if beings or things came out of me, and in those days I wasn't really able to understand it very much. I did just observe it and didn't care too much about it. But I had a center in Guadalajara where we met 15 years ago, and in that center I had a few employees. They were very psychic, and they saw these transparent beings coming out of me when we did meditation, like jumping out of me, like. And what I felt like a seizure, a slight seizure, it was when these beings were coming out of me. And well, I didn't care too much about it. But time elapsed, and over then in the coming years, I had a series of openings and of experiences where I had uh, encounters with star beings, interdimensional star beings, transparent, white, of different nature, and they would tell me that I had an agreement to work with them, and that I wasn't doing so, and that I was sort of not, fulfilling my agreement I had with them before being born. And So I said, well, okay, well, if this is true, then I gotta think about it. A week later, before when this actually happened once, um, a lady here from another city in Mexico uh, called me, an acquaintance, a business acquaintance. I didn't know her personal life very much. I didn't know her personally very much. And she told me that she was losing her eyesight. One of her eyes was blind already, and the other one was starting to lose its sight. And she asked me if I could help her. In those days, I worked with essential oils, and she actually asked me if I could help her with an essential oil, especially for the eyes, for the durable generation. And I remember what the star beings had told me a week earlier when they had appeared. And I said, well, Papi, let's do an experiment. I'm going to send you an energy. I didn't tell her anything about my my experience, what had happened, and I just, she was like a thousand kilometers away on the other side of Mexico, Veracruz. And so she said she lay down in her bed. I lay down. I was in Guadalajara, which is the western coast of Mexico, and I got into meditative state, and I said, okay, light beings, if this is true, then please go and heal Patty in her eyesight, in her eyes in Veracruz. And all of a sudden, I felt like energy bolts through my coming up my spine. Felt a lot of heat. Started seeing color flashes around me, different colors, violet, green, blue, red, all different colors. And it felt a very strong energy coming through my spine, like an energy liberation. And it lasted for about an hour or so until I sort of laid down and slept for the rest of the night. Next morning, when I called her, she could barely speak. Actually, she couldn't answer the phone. In the afternoon, she answered. She called me and asked me what happened. What was that? And I told her, well, I didn't know myself very much. It was actually uh, a an energy transmission of some sort, which the beings, the star beings, which have presented themselves, asked me that they wanted me to do, and I was curious about what had happened to her, if she had felt anything. And she said, Frank, it was incredible. And she told me that she had these two high beings, tall beings, white beings, appear at both sides of her bed, and they started working her eyes with different utensils which they had, and she felt very strong pain in her eyes when they were doing it, to such an extent that she fainted. Physically, she fainted. And the next morning, when she awoke, she had a metallic. She could barely move. Was right. She was regaining her consciousness. She could barely move, and she had this metallic flavor in her mouth. And she had the same symptoms as if you went into surgery with and and so we were there. She recovered her capacity to speak and her ability to speak. That was what he called me. Then I told her, well, listen, I think what happened was these light beings appeared and they told me to do this, and you're my guinea pig, as they say, and apparently works. Well, let's go on with it. I mean, why stop? Let's continue working with you until you have good eyesight, that your eyes are perfect. So during the coming nights, we continued to work the same way. It wasn't that strong anymore. I didn't faint anymore. I didn't have that strong feeling anymore, but I felt the energy. And uh, so we went on like that for a few weeks. And a few weeks later, she called me crying from the doctor. She had been visiting the doctor who had treated her for her eyes for 12 years, and who had told her that she had her eye, which had been blind, was not operable. That the nerve was was cut off. There was no energy came to the nerve, no electrical impulse. So it was impossible for the group to regain eyesight. And he told me that the doctor had measured it 3 times, her eye, that her eye, one eye, which had been clinically dead for 12 years, had regained 95% of its capacity. That was incredible. And the other eye, which was starting to lose, had stayed the same. And I said, well, wow, that was very, it came as a very good surprise to us all. And I said, well, let's continue until both eyes are okay. And we continued working with the beings, and uh, sometime later, both eyes were perfect. Yeah, perfect shape. Uh, it's the interesting thing is that Ruben knows this lady. He told him that story 15 years ago on a different right. Yeah.
Yes, of course. I hear this incredible story, and to me, this is um, this is just fantastic. It's just like I do not understand. You know how you mentioned someone saw beings coming out of you. That's what you said before, and
Yes.
then
Yes.
is that right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. They come through me. Yes. Yes. It's well. It began as a mystery to me too, and then little by little, I started. Well, I started working on patients with this lady. She's a healer, a naturopath from Veracruz, and she invited me over to her place, to her city, and I would work with her once a month. I would go with her for 3, 4 days, 5 days to see her patients, and she would join patients. And it was really there was something going on there. It was really interesting. I learned a lot there too, and many people got healed from all sorts of things. Uh, and then slowly it began uh, going to more cosmic levels. The, 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 the beings that arrived, not only did they heal the people into their past lives, their parallel lives, to their, I say parallel lives because, as they told me, that it's not only the lives here on Earth from previous years, centuries, but also in other dimensions, the stars. There's really parallel incarnations. We call them fractals. So people would recognize themselves as fractals of the current incarnation, and they
mhm,
would experience themselves as a being from Sirius, or a being from Pleiades, or a being from Andromeda, or also sometimes as a crystal being, or in different shapes of morphological form. It's not, not humanoid only. And then obviously over time I began to understand what was. The beings started talking to me in dreams, in other ways. I started being taken out of my body up to the arms on ships. I started
mhm.
flying around in space and having experiences. And so over time, I got to know, understand what happens. So I know now that I'm the fractal of Astar Katar. Astar Katar is a creator being. He calls himself creator of worlds. Um, in lack of a better term, he uses that term, creator of worlds, because we don't really have the term that would name that class of beings here on Earth. In ancient Jewish lore, they called them Elohim. Elohim.
Mm.
But Elohim is very spiritual. They come from God. But these
It's
beings are real, are beings from the higher dimension, from the 33rd dimension where he is, and he has a reality, and just in the
right,
33rd. Yeah.
right. So let me just recap a little bit. So something that stands out to me is just out of the blue. Well, I don't think you got a training, but you tell me, okay? So you just start sending energy. Did you how do you know what to do? I mean, it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna send energy and That's it?
Well,
Is something natural in you, something or how can you describe this?
I just felt that was the way to do it. I don't know. It was, I just felt that was
Uh,
the way to do it. Ask the beings to go there and
mhm.
begin to start it. And it worked. It worked. It was by trial and error. Everything I did here was trial and error. I mean, there was not. I began working with one patient and two patients, and then there was not enough time for four patients, and then I didn't touch it anymore. Then we had groups, and now I work over the internet, and thousands, 10,000s of people all the time.
Right, right.
So um, it was basically trial and error. There was nobody to teach me.
Right, right. No, I mean it's very interesting to me, like, suddenly one day is like I got this idea, okay, I'm gonna start sending energy, right? But I have never done it before, right? So and then I start doing it, and you know what, it works, some people are getting the message, are getting the energy. And by the way, I mean, we have this incredible testimony of someone almost losing one of her eyes, sorry, and then suddenly is like she's like 95%, right, according to the
Yeah,
medicine today. So this is just amazing. It's not usual to see these things, this is we are talking about something else here, right? So that's my
yeah.
point.
Well, actually, what happens is, and this came over the years. Um, they take the people astrally on an astral plane. They take them up to the ship, and then they have groups of doctors up there, real, higher dimension doctors who operate the people, who do operations on them. And it's all sorts of that. I mean, it's been 15 years now, so there's been all sorts of diseases which have been healed. I don't go very much public with this because we're private. We're not private. I'm big on Facebook. I have 140,000 followers in Mexico and in Latin America. But I, I have there have many testimonials, but thousands, tens of thousands of testimonials, people who write and who express their experiences, no one tell their experiences. So um, it's it's real. I mean, it's real.
No,
it's
I know it's real. Actually, you shared with me a few testimonies of people,
yeah.
and it is just incredible to see. Um, but this connection with these beings, and something that stay with me is just um in a simple words, who is Astar Katar. So you mentioned that it's a relationship with Elohim, but sometimes I don't like that terminology, because when I hear Elohim, to me it's more kind of religious thing.
Yeah,
But
exactly. That's why I don't like
yeah.
it either. But it's basically these are very um, high dimensional beings. He's from the 33rd dimension. Um, he is a galactic commander. He has a huge ship. It's a ship. It's a big city. It's an entire city, and he works with many races from different benevolent uh, races, Pleiadians, Sirius, Lyrans, um, even beings which have shapes that we don't even know here on Earth. For example, these vegetable beings, we call them in Spanish, we call them seres vegetales, which is their plant beings, plant-based beings. And they fly ships. They're like a tree. So there's like trees which are interdimensional, but fly through ships and appear here on Earth and help people too.
I
It's
am Groot.
excuse me.
I am Groot. Remember from
Yeah,
Guardians of the
Oh,
Galaxy?
yeah.
He was a tree.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, but that's true. That exists. That's
I am
true.
Groot.
That's true. Oh yeah. And
I had a
really cool.
question for you,
Yeah.
Frank.
Yeah.
Um, what you've been doing sounds like a awful lot like what Edgar Casey did in the 30s, 40s, and that where he was able to visualize what was happening with people and help them be cured. He had a whole facility that was down by the ocean, I guess in South Carolina or someplace. People would come and visit, and he would just, it was like a doctor. He'd just go through them. Go, okay, this and that, and we'll do this. And he would like actually do repair on them.
Oh yeah,
But
and,
Casey, the psychic, uh,
yeah.
he he actually sort of wore himself out and ended up with an early demise because he was doing so many meditations and things a day, and his family was trying to get him to slow down, and he wouldn't. He just did it till he petered out. Finally, there was no
Wow.
more power left. But
Okay.
I just kind of we talk about the other things that are out there that we don't know about at all about other dimensions and what's the word I want for it? We're uh, shoot, I can't think of the word for it right now. But they talk about spooky influence at a distance or something. Like Einstein talked about that. There's other things going on out there that you can think it here and 1,000 miles away they know it or whatever. We're all connected. We're a part of the source. We just don't know how that works. And how long were you doing your meditation before you ever started with this lady to do this thing? Just curious.
Well,
Yeah, your meditation practice.
I've done meditation for most of my life, with ups and downs. I was married and Mary had a very busy business schedule, so I wasn't able to meditate very much in those days. But I would say since the age of 25, maybe 25, 30.
Well, it's kind of like a bicycle. Once you learned how to ride it, you can easily hop back on it again.
Yeah,
Even 5 years down the line, probably get to the same place a lot
yeah,
easier.
probably. Yeah. Actually,
So
when
this
I
is,
was in those days, I was living in Venezuela when you could still live in Venezuela, and I had very many experiences with UFOs there too. With beings. Those were wild years, and that was in the 80s, end of the 80s. But it really started developing strongly what I do now 15 years ago, about 15 years ago. And then I sort of went into seclusion for 3 years. I went to a house in the woods behind the Guadalajara, and Ruben was there 15 years ago. And look, he knew us. And I spent my weeks there, working there with the beings, and very secluded. And then little by little started spreading it with people, sharing it.
so have you followed up with this lady that you helped over the period of weeks that her vision came back? Is she still today doing very well, or?
Well, I understand that I haven't had contact with her for many years. We had a personal fallout for personal reasons, which I don't want to go into. But I understand that her eyesight improved and she's still okay. But I don't have contact with her nowadays.
I'm just curious. All right.
Yeah.
So I had a question about the beings.
Yeah.
So the meditation experience that you described, where all of the energy was just coming up through your spine, it really sounds a lot like what people call the Kundalini energy awakening in people when they start coming into their gifts that they've been given. So the beings travel through your nervous system and then come out energetically.
Well, I don't think they travel on a physical plane in the nervous system. The nervous system is on a physical plane. All this happens on the higher plane. So
Yeah.
you see, the way I see it now is the beings I work most with are from the seventh and ninth dimension.
Okay.
We're in the third dimension here. So they actually what happens in my case is that a portal opened up. I call myself what people call me it's a funny name. It's funny when you call yourself a living portal. Why a living portal? Because if you concentrate on my eyes, do you meditate? If you can make it, you can try.
Yeah.
Concentrate on my eyes. Okay, take a deep breath and concentrate on my eyes and see what happens.
I want to put you on, what do they call this here? Where I can pin you. We can see you
Yeah,
better.
let me do that. Yeah.
Okay, now we got your full screen. Well, partly full screen.
Okay, let me just pin yeah.
When I share this with people over the internet, and we do on my Facebook page, we do regular events and mass meditations, mass contact, where people participate from all over the Spanish-speaking countries. I mean, down from Chile and Argentina up to Mexico. In the States, we have many Latin Americans from the States who participate, many. Canada, people in Spain, even from Italy, we have people participate. 2 weeks ago, I did an event where we had a Colombian lady from Australia participating too. So, and what they do is they concentrate on my eyes, on my face, on my eyes, and then automatically they're drawn into the portal. It has nothing to do with where you are physically. You can do it on distance. So you can do it in my picture, but if you do it in my physical presence, it's easier, it's faster. But I mean, maybe we don't have the technical facilities to do it here right now, but it works that way, right? So, what was your question? The original question? How did we get to this point?
Who is that? Who are you asking of?
Christy, what was
Oh,
your
so yeah, I was just curious. If so, I think you answered my question. I was just wondering if the interdimensional beings were walk-ins or you were working as a channel, but you just described that all of the work is actually happening on a different dimension.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the point is, Astar Katar explained that to me. Actually, Astar Katar and I are one. We're one being.
Yeah.
I'm here in this physical world with my physical limitations, but he lives through me in this third dimension. He experiences a third dimension through me. I'm his fractal on one side, his incarnation, but then also he has a unified part of his energy with me.
Yeah.
That's why when you enter my energy field through your concentration, automatically you're drawn towards Astar Katar's energy field, which goes up to the 33rd dimension. And like on a gigantic elevator, you're drawn up to where you are able to go. Most people, which are not that experienced, go to the 5th dimension, or 7th, most of the 5th. And most of the operations happen on the 5th dimension. Some people go higher. And that's special people who have more spiritual practice, who have their soul path, has been different. And they go higher, and they meet their oversouls. They meet very high standing beings. So it's everybody, every soul, every person who participates in this and works with this energy has different experiences according to his personal soul path.
Yeah.
Yep. I really feel nowadays we are open up a little bit more about exploring, territories, exploring um, many things that in the past we actually we couldn't talk about. I feel that our generation right now is very open about spirituality, about extraterrestrial intelligence, extraterrestrial life, and to me, this is just amazing how a human being, like you and I, like us, actually can work with energy. To me, one of the portion of your I was reading your synopsis from your bio, and you talked to me about quantic healing. Quantum
Quantum
healing.
healing.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, in a very simple way, what is all that? If you have to define
Well,
that.
there's actually different aspects to it. People who have a physical impediment. For example, this lady, she was operated on her eyes. The surgeons came, the carpet surgeons came, and they worked on her eyes with lasers and with the equipment which they have on the higher planes. And apart from that, and that happens very often, people are taken to their parallel lives or past lives or parallel lives in other dimensions, here on Earth or on other planes and other star systems, etc. And they see which trauma, which problem, which catastrophe, personal catastrophe which they lived, or which injury which they received on other planes are the causes for their current problem, be it physical or emotional. And then the light beings go, they feel that the cause in the other dimension, and then gradually, over time, their physical or emotional problem here on Earth in their current life disappears. It's something very, which is different from person to person. Everybody has a different, for example, today, if you go to my Facebook page, it's in Spanish until now, but you can listen to it with Google Translator if you don't speak Spanish. There's a gentleman from Colombia who participated in an event, in the course I did, in the workshop I did in the beginning of January, and he experiences, well, he says he feels a lot better on many planes, but especially he describes a green, large being with an amorphous shape, not humanoid, not amorphous shape with a mouth and eyes, which somehow sucked away from his astral body all the negative energy which he had accumulated. So that's a quantic healing, because this light being from the higher dimension, that's a light being, that's a light being from the 30th dimension, the one that did that. Sucked away all the energy from the bad energy, the heavy energy from his astral body. And he could see it. He could see it in the portal. So usually when you are in the portal, many people see more than they do in the normal life. Many people fall asleep. I would say 90% of the people fall asleep very rapidly. They connect and then they fall asleep 3-4 seconds later, because it's hard for them to maintain their antennas open, their eyes open in that dimension. But some people have the capacity to see, to remember, and they can give interesting testimonials.
Right.
Frank, question for you. Have you heard of an organization called lightnet.org?
No.
Joy Gush and Carla Fishy Lazim are into that, and they actually communicate with ETs through what they call a light language. It's a base 12 language and using light to communicate with them. So I just was wondering if you'd ever heard of them. She's got a new book coming out, and she says she communicates what they call the sky people, kind of similar to the term used star beings, sky people.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
She spoke with us last summer.
What's her name?
Carla Fishy Lazim.
Carla Fishy Lazim. Okay, look it up there. I have very little contact with other people in this field.
Yeah. If you look in the chat, I put in the link to the lightnet.org with their archive stuff in there, just so you can see that out of the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
And she has a new book coming out too that I don't think it's quite ready yet. So.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, there's certainly many people who have do these things.
Yes. So to wrap up, Frank, is there anything else that you would like to share with us? I mean, most of your work, a lot of people know you here in Mexico, in Latin America, and I just saw like wonderful videos from Chile, from Colombia, from Mexico. But is there anything else you would like to add, I mean, to me,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I could talk about many things, no?
Mhm.
Basically, what we've been working during the last years, during the last months, is Astar Katar has been opening up these energy fields for everybody to work personally for his attention process more and more.
Mhm.
We have, for example, we started on the beginning of December. We started doing workshops with light codes of light, where everybody receives certain light codes in their physically and in their astral body, and then they started having experiences, and they started liberating old emotions from right, and so in that sense, our work is going to do in the coming months and years. Our work will be more oriented towards the ascension process, the personal ascension process. Um, Something that Astar Katar told me once, I once asked him, you know, sometimes you feel desperate about the world situation, where we're going on the planet, all the pollution and all the atomic bombs which are proliferated everywhere, and where's this going to end? And he told me that the there's going to be a gradual separation of realities on Earth, a gradual separation of realities. It's like it's as if seven realities sort of go in different orders in different directions, and each soul, each incarnate soul, will be on the timeline and on the reality which is it is drawn to. And so what I see myself, my work right now is helping those souls which are ready, which feel the urge to wake up, to help them connect again with their different fractals and their cosmic dimensions, so they can go on the timelines and on the path which was originally planned for them. So that's
Yes,
what.
Frank, I've been hearing a lot of people talking about that as of late. Lots of channelers, lots of psychics. They're saying exactly that, that the shift that Dolores Cannon was talking about so many years ago, that the new earth is coming and people won't even realize that they're in the new earth because their oversoul is taking them there. But the way it's described is like two trains. So some people's trains are going this direction, other trains are going this direction to the new earth, others are going in, staying in the old earth, but the
Yeah,
energies aren't compatible.
yeah, exactly. What I was told it was seven Earths, seven different realities, but it's multiple realities, and each one will have its precise experience. No, with some will experience catastrophes of its own.
Yeah, the
So
healing that you've been experiencing and doing, I think you're onto something really good there, that this needs to be expanded to really almost a world thing, because with all the problems in the world the way it is, there's a group called 1111 that does meditations all over the world exactly at the same time at 11:11 hour. Okay.
really,
There's a group called ET Let's Talk. That's who we do our CE5s through. And
uh,
so that group throughout the whole world, they do that at exactly the same time.
oh yeah, okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
What
we
day?
do light work.
yeah, if you just look up 11:11 and on your internet and see what you find there, but the group that we do our CE5 through is called ET Let's Talk.
ET, let's talk.
Okay,
Okay. And when you find that group, it'll take you down a rabbit hole,
okay. Well,
but it's a good one.
we do something similar here in Latin America. We have every Thursday night. I have a meditation experience with many people, and thousands of people, tens of thousands
Yeah.
of people. And so that's sort of our every Thursday night we do that here. We've been doing that for 12 years now.
Yeah. Well, this thing is all over the world, so it's all based off of UTC.
And how?
Britain time
Uh,
is so our time is 3 o'clock in the morning when we do our hour of meditation.
oh, all
They
right.
do
Okay.
theirs. It's all over the world, exactly the same time.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And
amazing.
there's over 22,000 people on it.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people joining in Tokyo, people joining in Singapore. I mean, you name it. We're all joining together. We're all doing light work. We're all blessing the earth with the purest energy that Mother Gaia can give us, and we're connecting with Source, kind of like a bead on a thread. So we root down into the center of the earth, and then we're the bead, that little sparkle of energy and light, and then our energy connects up to Source, up into the highest parts of the galaxy.
Good.
And we
Great.
just
Great.
spread that energy all around the globe as all of us are working in our teams.
Great. Great. That's
Yes.
you're on those teams too. Each of you were. Wow.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christy is our C5 leader. I used to go every once a month in California and get together with Gary and a couple of friends and do meditations and connect and connections and everything. So yeah. So the ET
So,
Let's Talk.
what is your Facebook site so we can find you?
Yes.
Well, traditionally it's been in Spanish, but I'm writing a. Actually, I'm right now. I'm translating my webpage, the Spanish webpage to English.
Mhm.
It's it would be called Astar Katar.
Can you spell that in the chat?
Astar,
Astar.
then colon, semicolon, and then Qatar. Katar.
Yeah. Astar Katar, like the upper left. You see Astar Katar?
I'm not knowing what we're looking or anything. I got a star, a
Yeah,
colon, and
I'll
what's the
text
word
to you,
after that?
Gary. I'll
Qatar.
text it to you.
Qatar, like the country, but with a K.
Oh, okay, Qatar.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, but with a K, with a K.
with a K.
That's yeah,
Uh-huh.
the K instead of QU. That's Astar Katar is the team's name,
Oh,
the
okay. I'm
creator,
sorry.
the creator of world. His name
And
is
that's your
Astar Katar.
Facebook site?
Yeah. Well, no, the Facebook site in Spanish is called Portal Crístico de Luz. For Ruben, can you spell that?
Yeah, Portal Crístico de Luz, ¿no?
Yeah, it's in
Uh,
Spanish.
Cristico. And the
let me
last
see.
word?
Yeah, de luz. De
De
luz.
luz.
Let me see if I
No,
can.
you have to spell those for me because it's not sounding like anything I understand. Cristo,
Crístico.
put it in the chat. We got,
I already did.
okay.
So, Portal.
Okay, I got it. De Luz.
The Crístico,
Cristico de Luz.
yeah, the
Okay.
Crístico it has no religious connotation. It's not for you know, it's I did that the Crístico because Christ consciousness. These beings they have ascended Christ consciousness in the sense of what they want to do with humanity.
Is this the
Oh, there
is
we
this
go.
the
Oh,
one?
there we
Yeah,
go. Nice.
yeah.
We got it.
Okay.
We'll go check it out. And I got a translator. I just flip it
Yeah.
on and change it over.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back about 12 years, Paige, and you'll have tens of thousands of testimonials of people who have been cured from all sorts of diseases, who write down their experiences. And I'm starting to do videos. Actually, people have been starting sending me videos. The first one Ruben just showed was this gentleman from Colombia who talks about his experience. And I'm planning to start. To go. I'm looking forward to. I'm just having a guy do my website right now. That's the astarkatar.com, and then the point is my guided meditation that I have is in Spanish. So I need to find somebody who could do me a guided meditation, the gist of it, and in English, so I can. Once I have that, I can work on English in English perfectly.
All right.
Yeah. So you can, but you can. I mean, if people are interested in the States, um, we can do a sort of a workshop um, by Zoom. Actually, since COVID, I've been doing workshops on Zoom mainly. Um,
If
and
you get a chance, can you check with go online and look up Chris Bledsoe? Bledsoe. He spoke with us too. He actually he calls the angels from wherever they are and send them right to your door
Yep.
if you need some healing or something, because they really helped him.
oh, great, great. Angel,
Chris
he works
Bledsoe.
with angels. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in North Carolina, and he was really
Okay.
bad off physically, and he just asked for help, and help came, and then he can't get rid of him.
Okay.
I mean, they
Yeah.
visit him all the time.
Yeah. It is. It is. It is. It is.
Chris Bledsoe.
Well, it's okay. Good to know. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay,
All
so
right.
let's wrap up. So we will share your website with everyone, Frank. Thank you very much. And then as well, if you can share later on your even WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever, so we can pass it on to anyone that would love to get in touch with you. And by the way, thank you very much for being here with us. So this is just fantastic. It's just incredible everything you do for about 15 years now, you know, going into this great meditation and this quantic healing, right? So is there
Yeah.
anything
So
else you'd
let, let
like
me
to add?
let,
Yeah.
let me add something. It's actually each session I do opens up to the or has the intention or the things occur in the session which I intend with my intention. So when 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 we do, for example, in the workshops, we have sessions where we look for encounters with our parallel realities, with our parallel incarnations, with our fractals. And then people are taken to these fractals, to these parallel incarnations, and have experiences with them. So it's much more than healing as such. It began as quantic healing, no? That's how everything began. But it's more sort of a cosmic reconnection process which I do right now, and which helps everybody to to make a giant leap in his personal cosmic connection with his different uh, fractals and with his higher self. We even have a part where we connect with our higher self and we start speaking with the higher self and the higher self answers. You know, very many people have their experiences with their higher self. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. So it goes in many directions. You know, quantic means unlimited. So it can go in as many directions as we as we intend. And during the coming weeks and months, here with Astar Katar and with the Light Beams, we'll be developing a growing number of new workshops and themes, which we'll be offering over the coming years, months and years. So, you know, it will be interesting to take this to the States too and to have people know about it.
Right. Thank you very much for sharing, Frank. And this is fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. So perhaps we can meet in another time. But today the time is done.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Frank, and thank you, Christy, and thank you, Gary.
I saw